This is our fifth video. This is Monarch 3, the chrysalis or the pupa stage of the monarch butterfly. This is a monarch caterpillar in a J shape. What follows this J shape is the pupa stage, the chrysalis. That's where the metamorphosis occurs in preparation for the emergence into the adult. The monarch chrysalis has gold along this rim of a green chrysalis. These little golden dots here. It's interesting that the name chrysalis means golden, but this is a green chrysalis with gold dots. You can barely see the wings through the chitinous covering on this pupa. The interior anatomy of the chrysalis is really difficult to follow. You can see all these color codes here indicating the different structures, but basically that's from the caterpillar. Over here, this is the adult ready for emergence, and lots of things happen in between. We'll go through system by system and see if we can make sense out of the internal anatomy of what goes on inside of a chrysalis. We can't show what happens in the middle of the metamorphosis. We can only show the beginning in this chrysalis from the caterpillar and here just before it emerges into the adult butterfly. In preparation for this video, we've talked to a number of entomologists about what goes on inside of the pupal stage, and they've consistently said it's a mystery. In order to understand the metamorphosis process, we've placed these two chrysalises belly to belly. So the ventral side is here and the ventral side is here. So keep that in mind as we go through the different systems. In the early chrysalis, you can see the nervous system represented by blue. You can see a double nerve cord down the ventral side with ganglia along the way. Down here is the brain with not much going on. In the later chrysalis, you can see a brain hooked up to a giant compound eye. You can also see in this thoracic region a lot of nervous tissue goes into the muscles that operate the wings. So you can see there is a difference between an early chrysalis and a later chrysalis with the nervous system. The caterpillar has 12 tiny, pretty much worthless light receptors called the ommatidia, or each ommatidium. They can tell the difference between day and night, barely. And they don't even care if it's day or night. In the adult, you have 20,000 individual ommatidia per compound eye. So you can see in a 2-week period, it goes from 12 to thousands. And pretty good vision in the adult butterfly, including color vision. They live in a world of color. These little feelers on the caterpillar, usually called filaments, are just decoration. They have no real function. Some of these projections on other caterpillars have a function, but in the monarch caterpillar, they just dangle there. In the late chrysalis, the antennae form, and the antennae in the adult are really functional. They taste and smell and identify humidity, so they have lots of functions. Just before the caterpillar goes into the chrysalis stage, it purges its digestive system. The digestive system is totally empty and non-functional in the chrysalis. While it's in the caterpillar stage, it digests plant material in this disassembly line from one end of the tube to the other. It's a relatively complex system, mainly digesting plant material for the caterpillar. Over here, just before it emerges into adulthood, it's designed with a different system, a system for dealing with simple sugars. There's a proboscis, which is new, and different kinds of enzymes that deal with simple sugars rather than complex carbohydrates. So the system then does change from a simple tube, basically, to an even simpler system in the adult, which is sort of a surprise. Usually you suspect that it goes from a simple system to a complex system. In the digestive system, not true. With the Malpighian tubules, they pretty much continue to function. There's no exit from the chrysalis, but they continue to function. The Malpighian tubules deal with protein metabolism. And as this chrysalis is metabolizing for those 2 weeks, there's a lot of protein metabolism occurring. So just as the adult emerges from the chrysalis, there is an exit of materials that have been stored up from the Malpighian tubules for excretion to occur at the same time the butterfly emerges. So both of these systems are quite different in how they maintain themselves during development in the chrysalis. There is a metamorphosis that occurs with the silk gland. The silk gland has a function in the caterpillar of producing silk, no digestive function. But in a 2-week period of time, it goes from a silk gland to a salivary gland. And the salivary gland, in this case, is a special gland for dealing with the digestion of sugars. The first thing the plant material meets as it enters the digestive system of the caterpillar is a scissoring of the mandibles. They chew and slice and scissor the plant material as the plant material is pulled into the digestive system of the caterpillar. As it develops from the caterpillar phase into the adult phase, there's the development of a proboscis, which is a tube for sucking up not plant material, but nectar, basically sugar water from flowers. So from hard parts in the mandibles of the caterpillar to a flexible tube in the adult, that's quite a transition in 2 weeks. The circulatory system in insects is an open blood system, a low pressure system, and a system of little openings on this tube, which is the entire circulatory system. The heart is in this general area and pumps towards the head because of a system of valves. As the chrysalis approaches adulthood, the heart remains a pump with valves, and the vessels carry the blood into an accessory pump in the vicinity of the muscles of the wings. And then it continues on down to the brain, which has more significance in the adult than it did in the caterpillar. So there is a change in the circulatory system of the monarch butterfly. The respiratory system in the chrysalis is unimpressive. There is metabolism going on inside of the chrysalis, and there needs to be an oxygen exchange, but not much. In the caterpillar, you had a system of spiracles and tracheids that allows for oxygen and carbon dioxide to be exchanged in the internal anatomy. Pretty much the same thing in the adult, with spiracles in the thorax and abdomen in this area. Very little change between the caterpillar stage and the adult stage in the respiratory system. One of the things you notice through the exoskeleton of the chrysalis just before emergence is you can see the wings. The wings cover up almost everything inside. So from 0 wings in the caterpillar early on to ready for emergence into the adult, in a 2-week period, there is a great growth of the wings. From tiny wing buds on the dorsal side of the caterpillar to wings that are about twice as long as the chrysalis. So they're crumpled up inside, awaiting their chance to pop out of the chrysalis, fill with fluid, and dry and fly. We look upon this process of metamorphosis in insects as magical and mysterious and unique. It really is not so unique. It's really very ordinary. More than 80% of all the critters on the planet undergo this process. So it's really kind of ordinary, but still amazing and magical.